Something tricky that you're going to have to be careful with if you work in retail is being sure that when people return things, that they're returned appropriately and they're returned meeting the return policy requirements. So the other day, a gentleman came in to return a shirt, and I processed the return, but the guy totally took me. He totally tricked me into accepting this shirt for a return when we shouldn't have accepted it. The shirt had been dry cleaned, and our return policy is 30 days, not worn, no stains, and it can't have been washed at all or laundered. And so he brought the shirt up to be returned, set it on the counter, and as I was going through the process on the computer to return it, he points his attention towards some jackets on the wall there, and we went and tried on 4 different jackets, and then he seemed to be kind of rushed, so I finished it all up for him, and then as I finished it up, I sent him out the door, it was all good. Alright, said have a good one, gave him the return, and then as I go to take the shirt and then look at it, I realized, wait a minute, there's a dry cleaning tag on this. I'm like, that's not good. And so that was totally breach of terms with the return policy. And so lesson learned there for me was that I need to be absolutely sure that no matter what's going on with the customer, that I can't let them distract me from actually assessing whether or not what they're returning can be returned. And so that's a note for you too. If you work in retail and someone brings you an item of clothing, you got to make sure that it can be returned, that it's within the return policy, and that it's clean, that it hasn't been washed, there's no damage to the garment, things like that. And same thing applies to anywhere you work, really, when it comes to a return policy. You know what that policy is. Know what you need to look for to make sure that policy is kept and observed by those who purchase goods and return them to you. And then, of course, just be vigilant and do your best. So from that, I learned, I gotta check things before I process the return, and I can't just trust people to be a nice person. Sadly, we don't live in a perfect world, so we got to be careful, make sure we check those things. And so, yeah, that was a learning process for me. So our store was like out $70 because of that. But you live and you learn. The manager wasn't like super upset with me, but it was disappointing. But at the same time, he acknowledges that it's a learning experience for me, and I too, I'm going to learn for that. That's not going to happen again. I'm going to be checking for sure. So next time someone brings in something to be returned, I'm going to be looking at it first, and I'll just be like, yeah, I'm looking at it to just make sure that everything's still good, that the tags are all here and it's in good condition. And if anyone were to complain, say, hey, it's part of the job, and I just want to make sure it's within the return policy. And I like the rules and I can stick with them, and so I'm going to make sure that I enforce those return policies. So if you work in retail, then you know about return policies and you know about returns. They happen. In a perfect world, everyone buys everything and it works out perfectly for them and no one returns anything. But the world's not perfect, and so we're going to get returns. So we got to know what to look for and how to handle those circumstances. We got to make sure we slow down, we observe what's been returned, make sure it's in proper quality, and it meets requirements within the return policy to be returned, and then to provide them with that quick and effective service, but not to allow them to distract us from assuring that things are within that return policy. Make sure it's all good. So yeah, that's a quick bit of advice for you if you work retail. Thought I'd share that with you. That's something I learned recently, and I think it's a pretty big deal that we all got to be vigilant with if we're working retail. So thanks so much for checking in with the video today. Check it out. If you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, hit the like button. And I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. All the best.